everyone, Lucamus Prime here. So it's time for the next episode of our series of video games that do not need sequels. And today I'm going to be covering this time a video game from 2013, which is an action-adventure game set in an open world. And this is a part of a franchise which many have considered to be a clone of Grand Theft Auto, but it's definitely an example of one of those clones that I actually do love. Well, when it comes, of course, to the first 4 games, that is. And this 4th game of it, which I personally think did not need any other games after it, when it comes, of course, to the main franchise, that is none other than 2013's Saints Row 4. So, you guys probably want to ask me, of course, what do I think of Saints Row 4? Well, I have played this game 3 times in my life. First time was on Xbox 360, then, of course, it's remastered called Saints Row Re-Elected on Xbox One, and then, of course, on PS4. And I, of course, platinumed it as well on PS4. And it's definitely, in my opinion, a really great game in the franchise, and it may not be my favourite Saints Row game by any means, because my favourite will always be Saints Row 2, which is one of my favourite games of all time in general. It might be one of the best video game sequels of all time. And I definitely think it was a really good game in my opinion, and was definitely lots of fun for a franchise. And I think this game could probably be the closest we could get to like an open world, The Matrix style video game, pretty much. That's how I'd probably describe it, because it's very similar in my opinion to The Matrix. And it's definitely, in my opinion, lots of fun. And I like how they did something new for a franchise in which they introduced new abilities such as superpowers, for example. And I think they did a really good job with it, in my opinion, for what it was worth. It was nice to see something new for a franchise in a good way. And it still maintained, of course, the spirit of a franchise as well by featuring beloved fan favourite characters. And I also really appreciate this 4th game for bringing back my favourite character, Johnny Gat. After it appeared as though he got killed off in the previous game of Saints Row 3, which is my biggest, of course, with that game. But I will say that even though I may have my issues with Saints Row 3, I will gladly play that over, of course, the main game that came after Saints Row 4, in my opinion. But I do have issues with it, such as it appeared to kill off Johnny Gat. So thankfully in this 4th game he came back, which I was overjoyed about. And on the topic of why I personally think Saints Row 4 did not need other games after it, I personally don't think it needed any, because obviously, of course, in the game, Earth gets destroyed by, of course, the Zin, led by a really funny villain being Zinyak, who is absolutely hilarious, in my opinion, voiced by the absolute legend JB Blanc. And at the end of the game, of course, after you've recruited all the Saints back, and you then, of course, take down Zinyak, we, of course, as well, will get an ending in which, of course, the Saints plan to go back in time to stop Zinyak from, of course, destroying Earth. So, and it, of course, ends with the boss, who is, of course, leader of Saints, or protagonist, we want to call him, or player, saying, let's go on a field trip. So, it ends on a very happy note for the characters in which they're going to be going back to stop the invasion. So, it's definitely a very happy note, and I also, as well, don't mind the franchise ending with the expansion released in 2015, which is Saints Row Gat Out of Hell, which is definitely, in my opinion, a really fun expansion where you play as Johnny Gat and Kinsey Kensington in Hell, where you rescue a boss from the devil. And that game, in my opinion, is lots of fun, in my opinion, and it's just, in my opinion, and sure it's like a guilty pleasure, because I know it had issues and all that for players, but I personally find it a guilty pleasure. It's definitely lots of fun, in my opinion. I mean, I get to play my favourite Saints Row character. What can be more fun than that? And not to mention, and as well, even that has a happy ending too, depending on what you pick, because in that game you can pick different endings, such as, of course, like, for example, Johnny goes to heaven to reunite with the love of his life, Aisha, or he can be crowned the King of Hell, or he can recreate Earth, which, of course, leads into a spin-off game called Agents of Mayhem, or you can find a new home for the Saints. And so there's lots of different endings you can pick, for example, but I chose the ending where he reunites with Aisha, because I personally think that Johnny, after all he's been through, deserves a happy ending, so I picked that one so he could reunite with Aisha. So I did like that ending, so I picked that one. That, to me, is the end of Johnny's story and gave him a very happy ending. But, unfortunately, after about 7 years of no Saints Row games, if we're not going to count Agents of Mayhem, because that's a spin-off game, which takes place in, of course, this retconned universe, we did eventually get another main installment for the franchise, but, sadly, this is probably for me a massive example of a game which was long awaited, but the wait was not worth it in the end. And that, of course, was none other than 2022's Saints Row. Yeah, it's got the same title as the first game for some reason, because this game is a reboot in the franchise. And when I heard about this game, I was intrigued to play it because I love the franchise, but when I was reading about what the game was going to include, I was really concerned. And one thing about it that really bothered me was how it was not featuring any fan favourite beloved characters at all. Like, just no characters that I cared about whatsoever. And not to mention, I also didn't like how we changed the setting for the game as well. To, like, some sort of, like, you know, Wild West style area. Like, what? That's not Saints Row at all. No. Not to mention as well, I've seen clips of the gameplay, and in my opinion, it's terrible. Like, I still cannot believe that the gameplay in the first 4 games, even the very first game, is miles better in comparison in terms of, like, character AI and, like, car movements and combat. Like, it's so much better in the old games, and I think that's really embarrassing, in my opinion. Like, old games. Because, guys, Saints Row 4 is 11 years old, and in my opinion, it holds up really well as a really fun game. So does Gat Out of Hell. And plus, even remastered Saints Row 3 in 2020, even that remastered is better than this game. Because, like I said, even though I have my issues with Saints Row 3, I will gladly play that over this dreadful reboot. Because the gameplay is terrible. None of my favourite characters, not even Johnny, came out, which really sucked. So I really hated that. How was none of the familiar faces that I loved at all. And I've also seen people platinum in the game as well, and they've said it's not worth it. It's an underwhelming mess, and you know what, rightfully so. I don't blame them whatsoever thinking that. And also, not to mention, and as well, the company who made the game, Volition, also lost my respect when they attacked the fans as well. So when they did that, I lost my respect for them that I once had when I played the first 4 games. They have no respect for me now. And of course, as well, due to, of course, this game's bad reception, the game company Volition shut down because it became part of Gearbox Entertainment, and as a result, Volition closed in August 2023. So I'm very happy about that, but they're no longer going to make games. They're not going to be missed after what they did. No way. Because I bet if they made more Saints Row games, then they'd probably get even worse and worse, and attacking fans even more. So, as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to a Saints Row story, to me, the main games end with a 4th game, and in terms of course, expansion, I pick anywhere Johnny reunites with Aisha. That's how I would go with my canon endings for Saints Row. I like to pretend this reboot does not exist, and there's no way we're going to play it. I mean, I refuse to play it, but I know how bad it is. I've seen clips of the gameplay, I've seen clips of the story, and I'm very appalled by it. Even the character customization compared to Saints Row 4's customization is terrible in comparison. Like, it lacks depth and detail. It's just shocking how even Saints Row 3's customizer is miles better too. Because even though I have my issues with Saints Row 3, in my opinion, that customizer is much better for the characters than the reboot's customizer. Like, I have no idea what went wrong with this. It's just ridiculous. So, all I can say is, screw Volition all the way. Good riddance to them for shutting down. They're not going to be missed at all. And I like to pretend that Saints Row truly ended with a 4th game, as far as I'm concerned when it comes to the main ones. That's what I'll say. Gat Out of Hell I can accept as a very fun epilogue. So, anyway, guys, this is me covering the next episode of video games that did not need sequels, where I was saying why, in my opinion, Saints Row 4 is a big example of an action-adventure game, which is a clone of GTA as well, but a clone of GTA that I do actually love, that in my opinion did not need sequels. So, you know the drill, guys. Be sure to give this video a like. Also, be sure to those in the comments what you guys think of Saints Row 4. Do you think you needed another game after or not? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Also, be sure to join Team Prime by pressing subscribe for me to come in the future, and I'll see you all later.